We're back.
Are we good?
Yeah, go ahead. Kick it off.
All right. Well, welcome to the OT, and thank you to our guest CarolynOT for joining us for another round of deep questions. I'll tell you, you were spectacular. I love her. I think she's a wonderful human being. You were spectacular on the OT. I mean, on the penalty box, and a shout out to Alan Baris, because I believe Alan Baris will be the only person ever to be kicked off our show at 5 minutes.
Right.
And although I'd like that to be it, because we can always say that Alan was the only one. So, yeah, Carolyn, welcome back.
Thanks.
Carolyn, you got a question to kick us off?
Yeah. I was, as I said, these guys know I like to deep search through people's Facebook and social media and find little nuggets. And one of the things that jumped out to me was, I looked under sports teams you like, and you've got the Pats, the Sox, the Bruins, and the Giants. Like, how do we get the San Francisco freaking Giants in with all these New England teams that are incredible? What is that all about?
Well, I want to really actually just talk about the Patriots for a minute, because I don't know if you know this, Eric, but I grew up in Cleveland. So I grew up in Cleveland.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Let me make a note of that.
Okay, so I grew up, so I'm old now. Art Modell owned the Browns. Yep. Art Modell and Bill Belichick, right?
Yep.
So then I moved to Arizona. I go move a whole, but then I end up in New England, and who's there? Bill
Belichick.
Yeah. And so it was kind of creepy that it was just like he and I just like.
Have you
ever met?
He's been following.
Oh yeah, we're super tight. No.
Yeah, I didn't know if you'd been on his boat or anything like that. So
not yet, but I could make that one of my life goals. Put on my vision board.
There you go. Are you a vision board person? You said that actually jokingly, but are you?
I am when I have the vision. So I think that this is that's a great question, actually. It
is. I love it. Go ahead.
So like when people make a vision board because they're supposed to, or they're like doing this, 21-day thing, right, but they don't really know, like they're just like clipping out pictures out of a magazine or something. Like those are other people's pictures. Like that's other people's vision. And so I really don't think a vision board will help you unless you have a very clear vision. And I can actually make a very specific example out of this. So when in 2010, I got divorced, sold my business, and took my kids from Arizona to New Hampshire. So we landed in Manchester, and my son was in 7th grade. So we landed in this like tiny little condo. I had no money. I seriously showed up with like $400 to my name, and my ex-husband was going to come get the farm.
Bad divorce attorney?
Huh?
Bad divorce attorney?
Listen, I got the kids and I got to go. I gave him everything else.
I'm kidding. I understand that.
It's like getting blood from a rock. No. So we end up in Manchester, right? And then we move again, and now we're in a single family home, like nice neighborhood. I'm making money again. Like we're getting back on our feet, getting my groove on. And then I realized where I wanted to like have my son go to high school, and that was in Hollis, right? So when you do your research as a parent, you want to go into a school district with high property values. There's going to be nice schools, nice roads. And so I would drive down the highway, and every time I would pass the exit sign for Hollis, I would say to myself, I live there. I live there. And so what I did was I was totally convinced that we're going to move to Hollis. The lease from my little house in Manchester is up in June. So every day, and then I made a vision board, and I went online and I printed out that like highway exit sign. I printed out the welcome to Hollis sign. I printed out a picture of the Hollis High School. I printed out all of these pictures in Hollis, and I would look at it every single day. Now, time is ticking by. There are no rentals in Hollis. I'm not buying anything. I want to rent something. Time is ticking. And I will never forget this day. I was sitting in front of my computer. It is seriously 2 weeks before my lease is up on the place. I have no idea where we're going. I'm crying. I called my dad's wife on the phone. I was like, I don't know, nothing. And she was like, well, did you look on Craigslist? Did you look everywhere? I was like, I did. And so she was like, well, damn it, look again. And I was like, okay. And so I actually hung up the phone with her.
Wait, can you do that again? The okay?
Okay.
I feel like I was there.
Me too. My heart was hurting a little bit.
Oh my gosh, it was the most dramatic thing. So the kids are still in school. I'm crying in the basement in front of the computer. And I go onto Craigslist, and all of a sudden there's a listing for a rental property in Hollis. And I call them up, and I was like, wow, is this really available? And they're like, yeah. I was like, can I come see? And they're like, yeah. The kids get off the school bus. I was like, kids, get in the car. Right now.
The one rental in Hollis is opening.
There's one. So we get in the car. We drive to Hollis. I'm like, oh, isn't it beautiful here? Isn't it nice here? You want to live here, right? And they're like, yeah, okay. So we pull up, and it's this like 5-acre little gentleman's ranch type thing. And there's animals, and there's this beautiful estate. It's right next to a winery. Yay. And
yeah. Right. We'll take it.
I know exactly where you are.
Yeah, right. So basically I looked around, and I was like, we'll take it. They're like, well, don't you want to see inside? No, I'm good. This is seriously like the countdown was on, like -2 weeks to go. But because I had the vision board, and because I had had this very, very clear vision, and this is what has happened with Synergy too. Like Ed and I both. So Ed is the president and CEO of Synergy Empowered Women, and it's a cool story about how he's done this. But we had the vision of the place that we wanted to have in Charlotte. And there again, I had a very clear vision of the type of neighborhood, the demographics. Like, I know what I want to be able to offer. Like, I know the vibe. Like, I know, and I have a vision of this. So when we were looking at real estate and stuff, we found a Zillow listing, and I was like, I want that. I want that. So, but I do all my research. I fly to Charlotte. This is seriously 3 weeks ago now. Fly to Charlotte with pay, you guys have notes on me. I had notes on other things. All these different addresses. And so I drove around for 2 days. We go to a showing of the place where I said, I want that. And sure enough, I walked in, and I was scared, because I was scared I was going to love it too much and be disappointed. And I was scared it wasn't going to be as good as I thought it would be. But I walked in, and I was like, yeah, this is the place. And guess what? We close on the 25th.
That's amazing.
One of the things I talk a lot about, we're in a couple of mastermind groups, and I'm a big believer in, if you'll, think about what you want, pray for what you want, talk about what you want, tell your friends what you want, and by the way, all those things coupled with do the work for what you want, odds are pretty damn good you're going to get what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And I think whether you want to say God or the universe or whatever you want to call that, I think all that stuff plays in when it's something you genuinely want or need in your life. And if you will, what you focus on expands. What you think about, you bring about. All that stuff, people can look at that and say that's hokey stuff. It freaking works. It's true. You know what?
At least you get halfway there.
My life, and now look, the man is right above me. I win every day. I know these guys, but seriously, I think that stuff is very powerful, and people play it off. If you've ever read the book The Secret, and people will knock that book and say, well, I want $1 million. Where's it at? Well, you have to get up and go to work every day for what you want. And you may not get $1 million tomorrow, but you may get it 5 years from now because you put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
A vision, and it has to be in your heart and in your gut. And you get up and talk about it. You pray for it and you work for it, and you will get what you want. I love it. It's a great story.
That is only one example. Like the way I got my first Mercedes. I remember I told you I moved to New Hampshire with nothing, $400 and nothing. Yep. And 2 kids and a cat. So yeah. So I got this horrible, it was green. It was this Toyota RAV4. It was the only thing that I could possibly afford. It was ugly. But then when it came time, I got a Honda, what did I get? A Honda Accord or something like that. That was fine. So meanwhile, one of my clients ended up being the owner of a Mercedes dealership. So when things went south with the Toyota, which was of course going to happen, he was like, bring it in. We'll work on it. Here, take the keys to this. Have a nice day. And so
nice.
So every time I would go to take my car in to get fixed, he would hook me up with a rental, a loaner car for the day, but there would be Mercedes and Infinities. And I'd be like, let's get back to this. This is what I want. So one day I actually took a picture. I put the key fob in my palm and I took a picture of it and I made it my screensaver on my computer.
It's crazy.
And I said, I'm going to own a Mercedes. I'm going to buy a Mercedes from Cush. I'm going to do this. And it took all a year and a half for that to come to be. But I looked at that darn thing every single day. And guess what? When it was time, it was time. And then I got black Mercedes. And now I've
how many people that are involved with, the group, the synergy of empowered women, how many women come to you guys for help or direction or whatever, and they don't have those thoughts of exactly what they want? Because I think we live in a society of people that just aimlessly, they're wandering generalities and not meaningful specifics. You have to know what you want. And do you have women that come to you that are in that situation?
Mm-hmm. Or they have too many ideas. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, or they're again, like the confusion, like the overwhelm. And that's what we do is so a lot of times we just start out with coaching. Like a lot of times women just need coaching to be able to like really, really narrow down what is it, what are you doing? Like, what is your business? Like, who are you serving? Like, what is your business model going to be? Like, how do you see yourself interacting? Right. And so that's one thing. And then other people like who come to us just simply like need resources. They need, they need to get a trademark attorney. They need information, or they need a new laptop, or they need dental work because they're going into this like seminar, but they're, you know what I mean? Like something just happened like randomly. And so it kind of runs the gamut. And once we actually have this, well, I have visions. That sounds good.
That's a different show.
I have this vision for what is going to happen in about 2 years in Charlotte. And that's going to be an actual like small business incubator / co-working space / large open space for things like aerial yoga, or people who want to come in and host trainings that are like of a physical nature and they just need a big open space. So that is down the road a little bit. Obviously that's not appropriate for this day and age, but it will be. And there again, like I have the vision, right? So it's, and I have so many cool stories. I could talk to you guys all day, but it's so funny. Like back in 2008, speaking of vision, yep. I was living in Flagstaff and I wanted to open a wellness retreat. And this is something that I actually will do also. Like, so mark this down on your calendar.
I'm just going to sit back and listen, by the way.
I'm sorry.
No, this is awesome. Are you kidding me? This is good stuff. Continue. I love it.
It's good.
So in 2008, I was living in Flagstaff. I wanted to open a wellness retreat because I wanted to get divorced and like get out of my house. And that is also actually like what I wanted to do. Like that's my passion in life, right? So I found a property. I put together this whole business plan, right? And it was 3 levels, and it was adjacent to a park where like kids play soccer, and it was right along the edge of the Arizona Trail too. You can see the San Francisco peaks. It was super cool. I was not meant to stay in Flagstaff, so I did not get that property, but I kept that business, like the business plan, like in my little folder. And as I traipsed around the country, like when I was in New Hampshire, I was like, is this where it's supposed to be? Is this where it's supposed to be? Like, and, right. But when the Flagstaff one, like I had a working name for it. It was called like the Nest, right? Because it was 3 stories and it was in these ponderosa pine trees. So you kind of like, you looked out the window and you kind of felt like you were a bird in a nest in the tree, right? So fast forward to today, 10 years later, I've got this property that is 3 stories high with a balcony on every single level and a rooftop deck. And Ed randomly says, why don't we call that place the Nest?
Come on.
No, you shut up.
Fell on the floor.
Fire her out of the show right now. She's
never, ever saw that business plan. Ever.
Wow. That's crazy.
Cool.
I have a couple things. Can you give us, I'm going to give you 3 bullets. Give us your thoughts on the following 3 things. Midwifery, the CrossFit Games, and CBD.
Okay. Do I have a time limit on these things? No, I'm just kidding.
No. I got to be somewhere at noon, so I'm good.
All right. So midwifery, right? So I've had 2 home births. I had midwives for both. I loved being pregnant. I loved having my kids. My kids are now 22 and 18. So this has been a minute. But it was a beautiful experience to have my kids at home. Like my son was born at 7:29 a.m. The sun was coming up over the valley. We were in Prescott. Like it was like this glorious moment to be born, you know. It was, yeah. So I've had midwives. I trust the process, but I was also very young and very healthy. And so like there's always a backup plan. Like, but you get to the point where like baby's about to come out and you're like, am I actually gonna, is anyone going to make me get in a car right now? No. So I love midwifery. I like the idea of doulas. Like my friend Michelle is actually, this is a crazy thing. I don't know if y'all have heard about this, but death doulas.
No.
Freaking 2020, man.
So what this is actually, this is another word for end of life planner. And so like people, you know, like you're supposed to have your power of attorney. You're supposed to have your will. You're supposed to have everything. You're supposed to like tell your kids what you want to have done with you when you are dead. And so many people don't do that. And then people pass away. No one knows what to do with their stuff, with their body, like you want to cremate. So a death doula is like this person who helps you like manage your affairs, like have the tough conversations, make sure everything is in line so that you have like rituals that you want to have done when you're anyhow. So midwives, doulas, anybody who's like helps you transition from one to the next, whether it's like spiritually or physically, all for it. Awesome. What was the second one?
CrossFit Games or CBD?
So that, you know, the CrossFit, okay, I'll just be really simple about the CrossFit Games. I used to do CrossFit all the time. Like I love CrossFit, but I'm obviously a very type A competitive person. So obviously that fits into my flow. When the CrossFit Games would come on, I would start to like get weird. Like, because everybody gets weird, right? Because everyone's like, oh, what's the next one going to be? What's the next workout going to be? Like, and then the workout comes out and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to do it? And you're like strategizing and you're like, what I came to believe for myself is that if I'm obsessed with something, if I am not making money and I am not making the world a better place, I need to step back and not put so much energy into that. So when that came on, I step back. Am I in there? Am I making money? No. Is this making the world a better place? No. All right. You're putting too much energy into this. So yeah, that's the CrossFit Games. Like,
Wes, I'm sorry, but our relationship is over.
Those people work so hard. Like those athletes work so hard. So props to them. And then CBD. All right. So obviously I live in California. Not obviously. Right. I live in California. So I don't know. You can't like throw a rock without hitting a marijuana plant around here. So it's like very, very, CBD is very trendy, right? So the cannabinoid oils and like the phytonutrients that are in a cannabis plant that actually have those like anti-inflammatory properties, there is something to that. Like, whereas like the THC is like when you want to get high, right? So like there's the two separate parts of the plant. And so CBD is becoming part of the supplement industry. And just remember that the supplement industry is pretty much completely unregulated. So I have a friend whose dad is working at this e-juice thing, like for vaping and like the THC and the CBD. Like he was like, if they knew what we were putting in here, we would get shut down. Like but the FDA is not going to come through here for another year or two.
Wow.
Okay.
But from a nutritionist standpoint, tell us what you believe, what it does for you or anything.
Okay. So, well, there again, like you have to understand, like how is it coming into contact with you? Are you rubbing it on your skin? Are you ingesting it? Like, how are you taking it into your body? Right. And then is it in a way that is actually bioavailable? And see, I think people kind of miss this point. Like you can put anything into a lotion and call it whatever magic potion you want to. But if it's not actually able to permeate the epidermis, like if it's not actually able to get into your skin, like you're not having any benefits from that whatsoever. It's like collagen supplements, people are taking collagen supplements, but dude, you cannot actually absorb collagen that is in a like not a liquid form. And it's simply because like the molecules are need to be like spinning ionically in one direction. And when it's a solid, they don't do that. Like they're just too big. Like they cannot actually integrate into your cells. But people are making a lot of money.
Okay.
Hey, did you eat any really good pizza when you were in Milan, Italy?
Oh my God. Dude,
I take that as a yes.
Yeah, I did. So when I went there, so this, you know, the story behind that, but it's, well, here again, dude, this is a whole nother like vision board story. I was in my studio in Flagstaff, and I totally remember this day. I haven't thought about this in a minute. I was one of my clients, his last name, Jim. His name was Jim. And Jim was telling me how, and Jim is older, he's retired. He owned like, I don't know, Porsche dealerships in Hollywood and all these things. And now they're, you know, retired in Flagstaff. And he was talking about going to Europe for something. And I thought to myself in my mind, I want to go to Europe. I remember having that thought like on that day training with Jim. And so he left and I went onto my computer and there was this, like, this is when I was actually doing like the fitness, like the, you know, the bodybuilding and heels, right? Fitness competitions. And I was looking at the different competitions and one of them had like the trajectory where if you win this one, you go to this one. And if you win that one, you go to Italy. And I was like,
That's it.
isn't that interesting? Italy's in Europe. And so, so basically like I looked at that and it clicked in with what I did, just thought with what Jim had said. So I went and I competed and I did well and I competed and I did well. And then I went to Italy. And in order to get to Italy, I got sponsors from like Flagstaff and all these places. And I went there representing the United States. Dude, I actually flew to Italy with like a grapefruit and cans of tuna in my suitcase. Like you don't do that, but
like I love the fact that you
I had a mission.
I love the fact you've called us dude 6 times in this story, number one. And then secondly, one of my favorite things, because I hear little things I thought in my mind, I thought, but I've heard that like 7 or 8 times in the last like 2 weeks. I thought in my mind. Because you could maybe think in your heart, I guess, or with your soul. I don't know. But I love the fact you can tell she gets excited because she's calling us dude.
Listen,
dude.
This is
like,
so here's the truth. You know, if we were in person, she'd be a close talker. And every single time that she'd make a point, she'd touch you on the shoulder. So that's what she's doing right now. Dude.
Well, I know we need to kind of wrap this up. And Carolyn, you don't know this, but I want to give a massive shout out to Wes's goatee that is dark again today. That if you'll go back and look at the last few episodes was completely gray. And then 4 weeks ago, it was completely dark. So I'm sure it'll be a little gray next week. And so I just wanted to shout out to Wes's goatee today. So.
I think it's CBD that did that.
Probably. Probably.
Anti-aging. Yeah, absolutely.
So
well, Timmy, what else you got? We gonna finish this up, or we?
Yeah, I think we've taken.
She can talk for 3 hours. I think.
I love her. We're definitely gonna have her when she gets to. All right, so you got to promise us when you get to your new spot and everything's set up that you'll do a live with us and give us a little walk around.
Yeah,
oh, for sure. Wait until you guys see. Oh, it's so cool. Just wait.
Now, are you driving a Mercedes right now?
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I want when you go live when she gets to show. I want her in the Mercedes, driving to the office, talking to us, getting out. Fellas, here's the nest. And, I want like the full, just all of it.
Well,
I want the full experience.
You've probably noticed that I have stepped back from social media for like at least the last 6 months, because I've had this transition going on. And I've really, for myself personally, I've had to step back and take care of myself for a minute and just do the things that I need to do in a private way so that when I show up again, I can be ready. And so there's been a lot of behind the scenes things happening with me that no one knows about. But when I get to Charlotte and when the office opens, which will be right after Thanksgiving, y'all are going to see a lot of me. So
cool.
We look forward to it.
Well, thank you for being our guest today on the.
It was my pleasure.
And the OT, and we'll post this stuff on. I sent you a connect request on LinkedIn, And so we'll obviously post this on Facebook and LinkedIn and everywhere else that people love to watch cool stories. So it's cool. Thank you. You were awesome. This was
Thank
fun.
you. You guys are awesome too. Yeah, thanks for bringing me on.
So good to see you. Let's connect.
Wes, I guess Wes, you got any questions for Carolyn? You've been quiet today. I know Wes very well. I can tell when he's pissed off. He was upset. I hadn't noticed his goatee before now. So is that what the deal was, Wes?
I just like to keep people guessing. No, I'm sitting here in horrible back pain, so I've just enjoyed everything, and no questions.
That's where you need the CBD oil, right?
Well, I think I'm going to get a weed card and try that.
Well, you cannot get cocaine in Oregon legally. That is not true. So
Well, but the good thing is it's only like a speeding ticket. So
yeah, it's $100 misdemeanor. That's all it is. But you do have to go drug court school stuff, whatever. I don't know. Don't do cocaine or heroin. It's not good. So anyway, thank you all for watching the OT. We will see you next week with Joe Soto. Thank you, Carolyn, and thank you, Timmy Lord, and thank you to the Black Goatee. Wes. Everybody have a great day. Be incredible.
thanks, guys. Good to see you. Bye.